Labyrinth Minotaurs versus the Caesars champions Pitbull Riot 17-17-17 and Taylor 1 versus Avenge Handsome Duel and Ghouls. Appreciate all the patience. Already set number 1. Let's get after it. Put on the Fab Duel second. Not enough for 17. Okay. If this is even a thing I can actually do, hold on. See if I can do this. No, alright, well, I was asked to play that. You're welcome. Not really sure why, but here we are. Alright. I guess it'll be a good inside joke. So, P's and B's already started. Priority ADCs, Hachi X-Ball banned, almost target banned that Fab Duel being an ADC main. Purse and the Naja Raijin on the opposite side. Obviously, this leaves Kuzumbo Charon wide open. I know the Minotaurs are definitely thinking about what they want to give up there. On some of those prior picks, obviously Achilles, Kuzumbo, Charon, some big targeted front lines. Let it play. I'm not letting it play. You got me fucked up. It's all right. I'll leave it at just that. I'm interested to see how it drafts inactive. I appreciate you. We're already at 32. I haven't even broken double digits yet, bro. I'm gonna have to get it working on that catch up. Got a big catch up game to do. They're hovering what they want to do. They're definitely talking about how they want to ban and what they're actually going to give up. They decided to ban the Kuzumbo off of the Caesars champions. I'm just going to call them champions and Minotaurs. That's what we're going to put on the spectate now that I've learned how to do that, which is nice. So a lot of, again, what we've seen thus far from the league, there has been a few exceptions, like a triple Maj or triple Fizz, obviously via Tyre's team, or Tyre's roster, if you will. But a lot of the teams have typically drafted more toward this traditional Mage ADC solo frontline. I'm still waiting for someone to actually pull out a double dive, double front lines, and really run with it and kind of draft their teams around it. Charon is the locked-in pick. Obviously, what you see a lot from him, like the silence, the disruption, and the auto attack slow. Honestly, the poke from range is what's kind of obscene on the Charon in general. Ton of free poke. Immediately, the Camazotz hover along with the Bacchus. No ADC even elected to be picked here. I wonder if they're actually going to go for this more double dive that we just mentioned, and they do lock it in. So now, seeing Caesar's champion, knowing that they're going to do this double dive with the Bacchus Camazotz. Camazotz obviously a ton of sustain, the safety from his ult, a ton of free damage or poke if you will on the slow on a 2. How they decide to draft against this, does Caesar's champion meet that? I didn't even think about the fact that Thoth is wide open. Get a pull. I got you. Hold on, let me do that too. Is any of my madmens here? Only Knuckle is. I'm gonna have to do more of that. All right, hold on. I'm going to be doing this all solo tonight, apparently. All right. Give me a sec. Thoth immediately locked in. That double dive, obviously, where Thoth typically finds a ton of his value is into a traditional comp, like mentioned, or against the traditional comp, being able to outrange them and poke them for free. And then it's going to be champions. I can't spell champions. It's crazy. All right. Your prediction is up. You have 2 minutes. Who's going to win the Caesars champions? I put them as champions, or the Labyrinth Minotaurs. Bop. That is locked in for you, boys. Yeah, Thoth and Okama Bacchus, like we mentioned, Thoth kind of gets really punished on that double dive. Like, if you're able to get a wall, kind of get that lockdown, you don't really find a ton of value. Thoth really wants to play, like I mentioned, into that traditional comp or against it, a double DPS, outrange them, poke them for free, and allow his team to kind of, or facilitate his team, making sure the enemy team isn't healthy, getting a ton of that pressure on the map. So I'm not thrilled by the Thoth pickup here. The Charon's going to have to do a ton of work. You got to be a little conscious. Kama just goes blink. If he's able to get that blink off, they're not able to keep him engaged. This could turn into really rough scenarios for the Thoth. Obviously, we typically want to talk about the fact Thoth wants to get to an alternate timeline, but getting to a level 20, having some of that safety, I feel like you're just never going to get. A Wuhan pickup here. I love that. A little bit different, more spicy of a pick. a ton of safety in his 3. For those of you who don't know, and a possible, if he's able to actually catch Thoth with this Wuhan ult, that could pretty much spell disaster, if not curtains, for this Champions roster. Again, your prediction is up. Are you voting? Put all your points in. Put your money where your mouth is, if you will. Again, Champions versus the Minotaurs. A little over 30 seconds left to vote. I mean, listen, I have nothing against... You guys can't use skin boosters because it's a custom, but using certain skins, I'm not going to put a massive ban list on skins. But yeah, it's a custom where you can't. Just got home from work. Welcome back from work. Hopefully work went well and active. Welcome, welcome. I want to know... Typically what I want to see here is they're going to have to stick to this double DPS, honestly, with a Thoth draft. If they don't go some... as either an assassin or an ADC here, I think they're kind of screwing themselves here as far as champions, because Thoth's gonna be that prio target. If he dies, if you hang your entire hat on Thoth and dies, your team just loses the game on this double dive. So I want to see someone who can actually counter pick, if you will, to this Wuhan. It's going to turn into which DPS gets more value, aka this Thoth or Wuhan, or survives the longest, if you will. If they're able to survive the dive, does the enemy dive actually do it? So I want to see how they actually draft. And they do elect to go this Hercules. Or hover the Hercules at least. Yeah, these are all best of 3. All league sets are going to be best of 3. The Fab draft, a.k.a. this Minotaurs draft for this Bacchus Camazotz Wuhan, is, in my opinion, kind of favored, mainly because the Camazotz sustain. The Thought's going to have to go some cooldown and a Divine for any kind of anti-heal. I actually kind of want to see some anti-heal prioritized by this Charon. I think he's going to be able to poke just as much, if not apply anti-heal really well. I'm not thrilled by this draft, and I'm not trying to knock. However, the lack of lockdown, a lot of this is going to be more skill shots. Like when you think of when you think of this Hercules Charon, you're going to have to get some big skill shots to secure that kill versus the generic damage on a Camazotz and the sustain off this 2-1 and the safety from his ult. So there's a ton of safety on the side of Minotaurs as far as their draft. I'm really interested to see. Both teams can obviously pull it out, make it a skill diff, and maybe it's just the players really shine on these characters. I agree with the Wuhan supporter. I love some Wuhan. I think his damage is kind of sneaky, if you will, but a big Wuhan ult, I think, is where a lot of people miss out or misplay. So let's get the names on here. Oh my god, can I? Hello? Smite. I'm begging. I want to change the names. Don't be doing me like this. Don't be doing me like this. Not in front of my friends. Shirley. Oh my god. Alright, well, you guys are going without names for this one. I'm going to have to reset after this. Smite is doing Smite things, apparently. They don't give a fuck. Alright. Player damage up. Wuhan going beats, pretty stereotypical. 3 health chalices or potions and 2 multis. Ooh. Nothing really out of the ordinary. I would like to note it looks like the Thoth is immediately going to go into this Divine for this anti-heal. Bacchus 1 giving him healing as well. Obviously, it was nerfed a little bit. I think it was 6 or 7 patches ago. I forget the actual number. We move my cam. Thank you. Big call out. Blonde hair is already going to my head today. There we go. No ADC on either roster. Like I said, I'm kind of favoring this Camazotz for more of this dive potential. A lot is going to come down on how much value this Thoth actually gets. I think where the game kind of sits is, in my opinion, the Camazotz Thoth and who actually is going to facilitate and play it a little cleaner. Both teams kind of electing to trade here, or almost a mutual agreement, if you will, give red and purple. I kind of favor the red pickup here. I'm not a big fan of the start, only because if you get wave pressure and this wave goes under tower, a little bit of gold is lost, so it's not necessarily favored, which is why I like starting red. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, though. Maybe he catches wave, and does. So nothing net lost on either team. Even trade, no real poke started. Camazotz a little beat up, only because of tanking that wave. Hovering is back, and actually sends it. So Minotaurs on this side are going to play a little slow, waiting to split the wave with him, letting the wave be pushed. What I want to know is how champions elect to play here. What do you mean, blonde moment? Oh, a big push pull already, forcing beads onto this Wuhan. I love that play. Obviously, like we mentioned, getting a little bit of that wave pressure because the camo backed. Immediately forcing beads or having Wuhan step up to try to make sure that he doesn't. And another big pull. Unfortunately, unable to connect on the push, though. Both horn shards used on the Kama and Bacchus. The stun's going to connect. Also followed up by a little damage on Wuhan. Big wave clear. Bacchus flops in. Kama's able to hopefully get a little bit more poke here. Kind of hovering. A big push. It isn't enough. And immediately shoves under tower. Is there damage follow-up, though? Horn shard popped by the Thoth. A big push-pull, or pull-push, if you will, by this Hercules. Forcing 2 beads already in the span of under 2 minutes. Add names? I can't. Look, it's grayed out. I would add names. I will reset so you have games for next time. Oh, my God. But the Chaos, aka red team, is the Minotaurs, and the blue, aka Order side, is your Caesar's Champions. There you go. But Smite's doing Smite things, and I can't actually do that. It's grayed out. Trying to click. I will add it next game. I apologize. But big value off this Hercules already. Pulling 2 beads under 2 minutes. I want to see them, obviously for those that don't know, immediately keeping track of those beads timers would be a big deal. The 3 minutes minus 10 seconds is obviously that timer until they go upgraded beads. I doubt there's going to be a ton of guys doing that math, so that's a big thing, especially in comp. So I want to see how that's actually utilized. Herc just looking for that big value, backstep by the Kama. A little poke off the mark. Charon going into this cloak. Obviously the range poke being able to stack that pretty freely. Cam looks like he's going into the Thieves. I'm assuming full damage directly after. Pull a little off the mark. Bacchus decided to flop, trying to get this camo too. Good silence by the Charon, making sure that stun off the Bacchus burp doesn't come through. Buffs are spawning. Champions recognizing that, making sure they have wave pressure. Melee's let through. Wuhan charging. Burt pushed a wave a little off the mark. Wuhan 2 not actually connecting because of it. I'm interested to see how they like to play this. Herc is hovering this purple. Thieves already online for this Kama. Obviously a ton of value off of his back. You got to be a little careful here. I'm not necessarily thrilled by positioning. Herc gets one of the minis. Kama's now shoving up, recognizing that's still up. They both jump over. Should be pretty free. So again, still very net even. Hercules ults for it and secures it. Hercules putting in a ton of work already. Beads up for Wuhan, 16 seconds off of, or until beads are up for the Kama as well. Herc gonna have to re-pull those. I'm gonna hover to this side. Both teams electing to stay. Should have waited. It's alright. Good poke onto the Hercules. Both are gonna back. I'm assuming that's gonna be full items for all members on this Champions roster. Backstop by the Kama. Full cloak, full starter. So Divine, Cloak, Thebes. Pretty stereotypical. Obviously getting that Divine online for the healing on the side of these Minotaurs rosters. Thoth is exceptionally annoying. Most of this range damage I would expect to see, especially once you hit level 12, this Kama is going to go blink, right? But I'm expecting to see a lot of this dive from this Kama. Bacchus, the coordination to get this. Papa Whitney, Whitey? Whitney, well, appreciate the follow. Welcome to the BBC, also known as the Big Blondie crew, watching the BBC Joust League currently. What I want to see, especially when Kama hits at this level 12, aka Blink, and 3 items, seeing this double dive coordinated by the Kama and Bacchus trying to get on top of this Thoth. Right now, the Kama, or the Thoth, should pretty much be poking for free like he is. Just perma poke. The Hercules should try to pull some beads, possibly get potential Charon alt into a Herc alt Thoth alt would be the big fight. Papa Whitey, I know. I mispronounced it. I apologize. Blonde hair is really going to my head tonight. All right. Obviously, both Thoth electing a back. I'm assuming going for a T1, if not T2, depending on gold. Came out good back step. Make sure it doesn't get pulled by this Hercules. 2 applied. I'm a little concerned, however, based off of no anti-heal onto this Hercules. The Hercules might seem pretty squishy now. Once and if no anti-heal is actually pulled, it's going to turn into pretty rough. Hercules getting chunked down. Horn chart is pop. Wuhan does elect to alt a little off the mark. Chiron alt is used. All 3 alts are now used. Good body blocks. A Herc Boulder for the double bounce. Thoth alt applied. That should be spell the end for this Hercules. Shells used by both rosters. Another follow. Appreciate Skull King. Appreciate it. Welcome to the BBC. First Blood did go onto this Bacchus. I would have liked that see to go onto the Wuhan or Cam. Obviously, coordination on that. However, it was secured. All 3 alts used. Just not enough damage. Obviously, more so poke heavy via the Thoth, Charon, Hercules. Hercules got a decent double boulder. But once that Kama 2's applied, aka the slow from that, it's going to turn into really rough, especially once that push or aka tackle is used by this Hercules. So we got to be a little bit more conscious, especially when he's tackling in or dashing in. If he has no damage follow-up, it can turn into really poor. Thoth build. He's already going into a breastplate, which I'm not thrilled by. Obviously, you want some of that survivability. Breastplate being an exceptional item right now. Only 1 Fizz dive, though. Good coordination or a P's and B stage. Going the Bacchus Camo, making sure that the Thoth can't go this breastplate and find a ton of value. I'm not thrilled by that, personally. Mainly because you're going to drop a lot of that poke or kill potential because of that. Big Bacchus flop, a little... Whoa. No follow-up. Obviously, I would have stayed a little late. However, the Thoth dash timing, really good awareness by him. Not able to connect. Oh, the true, I didn't even recognize. He went the Gem versus Tablet, going Sands of Time, aka alternate timeline for late game for that survivability. Assuming you get to that point, loses a lot of that survivability. I'm not thrilled by that. However, you do get some of that early poke. I don't know. I would 100% agree. Alternate timeline, especially on Tuesday, once it is buffed, definitely necessary. For those of you who don't know, that respawn or health acquired by the alternate timeline now will be buffed, so it's going to be almost a must pick up, if you will, on a mage. But I think this damage is going to be pretty lacking considering the T2 breastplate picked up by this Thoth. A lot of this, if they're going to elect to go this breastplate on the Thoth, I need to see a couple damage items pick up either by this Charon or this Hercules. Breastplate or regrowth picked by the Hercules just for the movement speed and kite ability. However, like I said, if that Cam is able to connect that slow via the 2, it's going to turn into pretty rough. I think Kama's 2 is going to be one of the most important pickups for him, or abilities to hit at either this Charon or Hercules post dash. I'm not thrilled by the pulls attempts on top of this Bacchus. Obviously, the knock-up immunity in that burp. I would like to see maybe a little coordination of the Charon silence onto the Bacchus mid-burp, and then because he thinks he's knock-up immune because that burp silence, immediately going for that pull. A little bit of communication required for that. However, I do believe in this roster being able to pull that off. Hercules getting a little poked. I mean, he should play everyone, but he just elected to go this Bruiser. A pull under tower. The big Wuhan on top of the Hercules. Boulder connects to all 3. Thoth a little off the mark. Honestly, I don't think you're going to have kill potential on that because of the T2 breastplate, unfortunately. However, a little off the mark with that. Big Wuhan ult, pulling the Hercules back in, forcing all 3 alts, obviously for the sake of survivability. Really well done already. Now they're getting, that should be and will be on this buff. Now a 4 buff rotation, another big start for this Minotaur team. Being able to 4 buff that, get a little bit of this pressure, get to, hopefully what we would see is a level 12 on this double dive. I'm assuming that Camo is going to have to pick up that blink, which I would like to see, possibly a double blink, trying to close some of that gap. Boink on top of the Thoth, he dashes, we dash, and it just turns into the survivability we'd mentioned. Trying to close some of that gap would be really huge. Once that happens, opposing team, via this Thoth, Charon, is going to be a lot of the responsibility to keep them engaged, aka no longer combat blink is available to them. Making sure that they're engaged at all times or as much as possible so they don't have that ability to choose their engage, if you will. Thoth looks like he's going into an Ob Shard post breastplate. I'm assuming either a possible Heart Ward or Pestilence on the side of this Hercules. I'm not against the Pestilence, possibly for the sake of survivability on the Thoth, if that's what they're going to go for. A big flop in. Would have been a triple knockup. However, a return pull push. All 2 ults expended, if you will. Really good combo. However, just not enough damage via this team. Bacchus flops in. Immediately pushed back under. Huge play by this Hercules to find that in turn re-push back under that tower, confirming the death onto this Bacchus. Possible mistake. And another big play. Beads forced on this Wuhan. This Hercules finding a ton of value. Camo now looking for a little bit of counter engage possible pick on this Charon. Just not enough damage. Really well done by this Hercules. Confirming that kill onto the Bacchus via that push. And then forcing that beads on that Wuhan. That's going to be a big play. Assuming another push pull. But is it enough? Does the Thoth have the damage follow up? Honestly, I think if he connects all 3, it might be not enough. This is set number 1, game number 1. So, though, as far as results, I don't have that command. Currently, it is just me. But I will verbally tell you. I'm a millionaire. Sentry pressure. Obviously, favoring. They're going for that sentry. Make sure Herc isn't looking for the blink over the wall once his blink is up, once possible beads are down. They're prioing the wards around blue, making sure that that doesn't happen. Where can you see results in the previous games? That would be in my Discord, !Discord. Back up a little here. Hercules trying to get in time, a little late, unfortunately. Camo just backstepping to make sure he doesn't get pushed. Unfortunately, no follow-up regardless. But Deco, if you do !Discord, you should be able to see some of that in there. If you elect to see or to be a role for the Joust League, you'll be able to see that under Joust or the league information as far as current standings. I prefer huge dong. It's funny. Ward placed on top of the sentry should be a little bit of gold heading toward the Minotaurs once they're able to actually clear that. Camazotz did get that blink. Bacchus elected to go beads. A big pull push once again by this Hercules. Not a ton of damage follow up accordingly after, though. Charon allowing that stun to go through. Op Shard online for this Thoth. Dash forced. Bacchus going beads instead of that blink, that double engage. Obviously, trying to start engage. I'm looking for those flops to be their point of contact. Another pull push by this Hercules. 2 alts, aka 2 alts used. Decent poke, but just not enough damage. Another pull push. Dude, these pull push under towers. Thoth immune. The immunity frames on Kama Dash, making sure that that Thoth doesn't connect. The damage now set on this Charon. Not enough damage. 2 shells utilized. Hercules putting in a ton of work to make sure that his team tries to get any value here. A bunch of poke used. I'll pull it up after. I'll show you in between games. I got to reset my SMITE so I can actually put team names up too. Waiting to make sure he doesn't get contacted here. Breastplate of regrowth, movement speed, doing a ton for this Hercules for the kite ability. I'm assuming this Hercules is either going into the Relic Dagger for the cooldown on his relics. I would like to see a possible Wing Blade for the slows. Red pulled. Went for that pull. A double push by this Hercules onto both. Charon ult to follow up. Thoth, not charging. Charon ult a little off the mark. Kite it all away from. Breeze with the gift of the Scarlet. Appreciate that. I'm fine with either, honestly. I would like to see a Wing Blade. However, if he goes Relic Dagger, because of how much value he's been getting on these pull pushes, there's no one that really argue that he hasn't put in a ton of work for this. Minotaurs forced to back here, allowing the champions to get their blue buff, get a little bit more farm back on the map. I would like to see this current state via graphs. Not a big difference between these teams currently. I'm still kind of favoring, once this Kama gets itemization online, this double dive via the Bacchus Kama onto the Thoth, right? Not having alternate timeline, not having some of that survivability, but they still have to close that gap and make sure that they can get that blink off without Charon or Thoth contacting this Kama in the meantime. Pull a little off the mark. I am a little surprised, however, at the Bacchus not going to blink himself. Push a little off the mark. In that flop. Thoth dash force. Kama electing a back. Looking like he's going for that Jotuns. Or not Jotuns, Hydras. Let me rephrase it. Sorry. I need to see a little bit of damage on this Charon. Obviously electing to go the Eldritch Dagger. For those of you who don't know, here's your glyph. And what it actually does. So looking for those cooldown on relics. You're about to play. Just make sure you have someone spectate it, because I'm going to watch it directly after the set, Krisha. So when you guys play, make sure someone's spectating the customs, and then I'm going to be spectating it directly after. That's what I'm going to be doing. Please and thank you. But I would like to see a little bit of damage on these tanks, aka this Hercules, Charon, whether that's more so Bruiser, to find some of this value, because even if they're getting a ton of the CCR setup, they're never going to get a good valuable trade off of that unless they're able to do some damage, assuming that this Bacchus Kama are going to hard focus this Thoth late game. Spectate little bro is crazy. Science a little off the mark. Kama 2 applied. Good poke onto this Charon. Pull, obviously catching that wall. Bacchus flops in. Both tanks really pushing at each other's DPSs. Bacchus ulting. Kama hovering that blink. There's about a big push. However, Kama's gonna ult. Aegis forced. Just not enough. Even with the peel, big push pulls by this Hercules. The survivability just not there. Another pull. The CC that this Hercules is providing is absolutely crazy. I do agree the Thoth is not, as far as damage, put in a ton of damage due to this breastplate. This double dive Thoth picked into it doesn't feel good. I know that from experience. Having to deal with that is not a great time. But there was that dive we were talking about earlier. The survivability not present, even with breastplate not having alternate. Obviously you wouldn't have had it then because you don't get it to level 20. However, even a ton of CC applied. I need to see a little bit of damage picked up by this Hercules Charon. Once that Thoth goes down, hopefully to get a good trade, if not potentially double pick off that dive. Or possibly getting Wuhan. But the Wuhan ult and the immunity frames on his 3, not to mention his relics as well, is going to be really hard to get that pick. Thoth should be just the one dying first. I need to see some counter trade value given by this Charon Hercules. Bacchus trying to stun out this Charon. Obviously, the Thoth Hercules trying to poke down the Kama in return. A big double stun by the Bacchus. No one there to follow up. Flopping on the Hercules. Banger song. This is that dive I was talking about. Kama, no relics though. Not going to feel comfortable with doing that even though ult is up. Decent pull push. No one, both of team members backed though. No one to follow up. I'm assuming. Now hear me out. I think this Hercules is hovering at Golden Blade, unless it's just serrated. I'm not sure. Thoth electing to go Ethereal, again some health. Obviously going for more of that poke onto the tanks with the Soul Reaver Ethereal Ob Shard. Shadow Drinker. Gotcha. Yeah, possibly. With how he's playing, maybe. I would assume it's Death serrated. However, you never know, maybe. He could show us some tech we've never seen before. It's Deathbringer, good call. Another push. Dude, this Hercules is putting in so much work. However, the DPS, like, there's no knock on the Charon or Thoth. That comp-wise, there's just no value going to be really poked down. We're getting constant poke, but do we ever have kill potential onto this opposing team? Hasten Katana, dude, actual fire. Just push, pull, or pull pushes you and autos you down as he's walking with you. Just AA cancel that ult for me so it looks pretty. Kama almost full build. Minotaurs level 18. Closer. Decent knock up. Sentry pressure looking for Bull. So obviously for those who know, another push pull, or pull push if you will. Decent poke followed up on it. Good value. Onto this Kama, who's going to immediately sustain that back up off Purple Buff. Pit is doing a ton of work on this Hercules. However, like I said, the sentry pressure here on Bull choke points, this Kama should be able to almost solo this for the most part. Keep in mind, even though they have sentries on these choke points, a sentry was on Bull, so champions were completely aware of that the entire time. Goes the serrated on the Hercules. Kama goes upgraded Jotuns. Here's her glyph for that as well. Those of you who don't know, going below that 60% health threshold, giving that movement speed and 20% physical ability lifesteal, in addition to Kama's passive already. Doesn't believe in the erosion tech, unfortunate. The Charon shielding doing a ton for his team. Nice double two. Kama is hovering the sentry. Looks like a battle over sentry pressure. Both teams obviously with this double dive or double front line, if you will. A lot of this, they're not going to really solo this short of the Kama. Both teams really need to get some poke on the enemy team. A big flop, triple Wuhan ult. Big value. Here's that engage we're talking about. Bacchus looking for the stun of the Thoth. A push under bird by this Hercules, forcing beads and ult by this Kama. Is it enough? He looks for that blink. Unfortunately, just not enough. Does he get this big push? Oh my god, this Hercules is... Oh my god. Is putting in so much work for his team. Honestly, I thought it was curtains for this Charon Thoth. However, that double push from onto the Camo Wuhan, saving it under the tower, forcing relics. A big, what I thought, Wuhan ult should have been curtains for both. Saved by the front line of this champion squad. Holy cow. Honestly, it's going to be one mistake that's going to cause this game to end on one team fight. Or at least tower, bird. Wow, just crazy, crazy value. Keep in mind, Shell is still up for this Bacchus, so the dive potential is still there. Maybe once this Kama ult is up, going for this engaged Bacchus starting it, and then Kama blink ulting, or get Kama getting damage off and using the ult for survivability, if you will. Another pull push onto this Bacchus. Decent poke. However, he's not really tanking a ton. chunking him down a little bit, but just honestly just doesn't feel like it's enough out of this Bacchus, who's immediately going to sustain that back up. Kama takes over level 20. Wuhan as well. Wuhan has timeline, or let me rephrase that. Wuhan has Sands, allowing him to go this alternate timeline, making it even harder to get kill potential. And there it is. Alternate timeline picked up by this Wuhan. Double relic, or you're going to have to go through relics. You're going to have to go through his 3, go through his alt, and now alternate timeline. Honestly, I think it's going to come down to killing this dive, or counter diving it, if you will, like this Hercules has been doing. Trying to find some value there. Cam on the purple. Sentry placed on Bull. A sentry on this Thoth. However, he's not going to feel comfortable to really step up and place that. Yeah, if this Bacchus really goes alternate timeline as well, going to prove difficult because he's just going to respawn a nice double flop alt onto this Thoth and Hercules. Herc push a little off the mark. Bacchus stepping in for that. Wuhan alt, a little off the mark onto this Thoth. Kama is in alt, shell used. Make sure that survivability is there. A lot expended. A nice pull push onto this Kama, making sure he's tanking a good route in return. AK2 by this Wuhan onto the double tank. Make sure there was no chase. Getting his the Kamazots out scotch-free. A big pull push once again onto this Kama. Both alts connecting by the Hercules, Boulder, and Thothal. Is this that chance, that counter dive? A blink forcing the Bacchus bees. Silence a little off the mark on this burp. This Hercules is putting in so much work. Good coordination by the Thoth Herc alt to confirm the kill onto this Kamazons. Kama is down for 40. However, both or all 3 members of the champions are backing. What a banger game this is. Yeah, I use banger because we're part of the BBC. Why the Soul Gem pickup by this Wuhan? Honestly, looking for that cooldown more often than not. Maybe a little bit of sustain. Not a ton of anti-heal application on the side of the champions, if you will, outside of Contagion. Divine, no Quarter Stonk, no anti-heal usage here. So I'm not against having a little bit of sustain via the Soul Gem. Soul Gem obviously getting buffed in next patch that I'm aware of. I haven't read it in depth yet, which I probably will do on stream later on. You're so BBC blind? I know, it's my fault. Why am I not in VC? I don't know. A double Bacchus flop. Wuhan trying to look for that 1v1 Thoth beat. Kama does have blink. You got to keep him, make sure he stays engaged. A big possible pick onto this Wuhan. Alternate timeline force isn't enough. Do they have enough damage follow-up? Aegis force. Bacchus looking for the pick. I'm back on Kama. Alt force as well. Bacchus flopping backwards. Hercules is low. Thothal not in range at all. Oh my goodness. The relics and alts forced. Keep in mind, Bacchus had alternate timeline on the counter dive. Alternate timeline and both relics forced by onto this Wuhan. Kama is looking for the pickup onto this Bull. Elects not to, obviously looking for the Chester. Excuse me there. Just the plays on both these teams, it is so close to breaking. Alternate timeline picked up by this Chiron. So Gem picked up by this Thoth. 3 alternate timelines in this game. And honestly, after Tuesday with the buffed alternate, I think that's all we're going to see on any magicals. Just a lot to work through. Down for just under 300 seconds. Might not see that for the remainder of the game, but who knows? We might go a 99-minuter based off how these teams are playing. They're looking for the new world record, honestly. Oh, should have gone Animosity. Honestly, maybe Golden Blade. Maybe you should have gone the Hasten. You never know. But put in a ton of work regardless. Gem was sold for the Op Shard. Looking for that percent pen. Obviously, 40% pen now on this Wuhan between Coin and Op Shard picked up. The only thing I'm not thrilled by is only the 30% CDR that he's going to have, 10% on alternate, 10% on Deso, and 5 or 10 on the 500 pont once he has that in hand. Not a complete negative, but not phenomenal either. Pull a little off the mark. Oh, the passive too. Big silence connecting onto this Wuhan there. Looks like they're going to all in potentially on this Charon, and they do. Able to just dash away. Big damage by this Hercules on the push. Now he might be on the receiving end of some of this damage. Both teams really poked down here. Bacchus trying to connect stun. Got to be a little careful. Herc has been phenomenal with these push-pulls thus far. Now, based off of the poke, Bacchus is going to stop backs here, right? That should be his job while the Kama goes to pull. Bacchus beads were forced just now, however. Charon alt used. A little off the mark, kited by this Kama. You got to be a little careful. This Wuhan is out of position, but isn't enough. Kama looking possibly for this blink. Thoth has to be careful, hovering the wall. Bacchus jumped in, looking for that Thoth. Immediately turns back around the push onto this Kama. Alt just in time, making sure he immunity framed that Thoth alt. Oh my goodness. What I thought was turning decently immediately into almost a terrible scenario for the Minotaurs. We shift over. Sentry pressure, obviously, on both choke points by the Minotaurs. There's your healing. Coach available for Taylor. All he's got to do is T2. Just like anybody else here, just T2 sub. You have your choices of coaching from Destroyer, Cosmos, or Yawn. Sell everything. You guys are crazy. Decent poke by the Thoth. Gotta be a little careful. Kama is hovering blink. The root used on the Bacchus. Good engage by this Charon, making sure that the Kama doesn't find potential for that wall. You gotta be a little careful of this Thoth. Bacchus, obviously just looking for that flop. Gets dash off. Root a little off the mark. Wuhan turning some damage onto the Hercules. Only hitting the 2, missing the 1. Big Phantom Shell value. I would have liked to see the other shell. Obviously no walls. Getting the Phantom Shell. The stun flop. Bacchus alt used on this Thoth. Kama now looking for that blink. Gotta be a little conscious of that. Phantom Shell versus the difference in shells here. Fortifying Shell. For those of you who don't know. Phantom Shell used to walk through walls. No walls on the side. Bacchus looking to keep the Charon Thoth out of engage. Charon alting. Alt. Bull secured a Charon alt connecting on the Kamazots and the Wuhan. Wuhan doesn't have alternate timeline for 30 seconds. Could this spell the end for him? Hercules forced to use Shell. Thoth stepping in. Isn't enough damage. Thoth put himself in a bad position. Bacchus. Kamazalt alt use close gap. Now keep in mind, Bull is on tower, so both relics used by this Kamazalt to try to secure Bacchus. Is it enough? Is it enough? Thoth gets out. Bacchus unable to secure that. Now is this Charon able to secure the damage? 1 off the market would have secured that kill. Hercules with the blink and securing onto the Kama. Now does he get out? Is it enough? Use the ult for the CC immunity to make sure he doesn't get stunned, allowing the Bacchus to auto. Wuhan down for just under 30. Kama down for 50. Can we push wave and at least secure T1, if not Bird here? Bacchus is just over half. Alternate timeline available for both Wuhan and Bacchus once Wuhan spawns in 14. This needs to be T1 at minimum. Charon tanking this. T1 down. Wuhan spawning. Hercules pushing up. Honestly, this is going to come to the Bacchus Wuhan. Need to make sure that neither of them die here. Making sure deaths get staggered. The Hercules looking to create that separation on this Wuhan. Wuhan ult used. Karen ult used in response. He has to hold that CC immunity. 3 used immediately. Now what I want to see is the champions immediately disengage. Camazon spawning in 5. Bird tower down. Big win. Big net win on the side of the Caesar champions. And red buff secured. Exceptionally played. Now, like I said, it is worth noting, 3K pot on the side of Kiron. Sentry awards obviously picked up by all. The alternate timelines are now up. Relics are still down. I'm assuming by next fight, all relics should be up. So we're going to have to work through those alternate timelines. All of that needs to be called into account. The Thoth has to be very careful, knowing that this Bacchus and Kama can dive them with all of that up. They are on purple. Kama beads are down for 18. Push a little off the mark. AK tackle by this Hercules. Going for that route onto the Kama. Is he able to connect? Thoth nowhere near damage. Fire Blink utilized if he was able to get that push. Beads were still down for 6. Possible damage or alt force by this Kama. However, just not enough. Honestly, if that push or blink push onto the Kama would have connected, alt would have been forced. They would have felt a lot more comfortable making this push. However, relic expended. There is the relic deficit here just by a little bit, obviously on the blink, but alternate timelines in favor of your... Why am I blanking on the name? And I have to check over the Minotaurs. Holy cow, Blondie's already dying. Looks like a pause. Oh. We fast forward a little bit here. If I have the ability to. Not able to. Pause in control. Pause in effect. Wuhan ult has had a bug. It's been like that for a while. I'm not going to lie. The Wuhan ult. Yeah. Yes, sir. That bug's been around for a hot minute. Ven's made so many videos. I'm pissed. It's probably a big reason why it has been picked up a ton in SPL. Is that all? Because of the bug not actually connecting and the back dragon not doing its job, if you will. And Pitbull getting a short respite. taking that moment to get a drink of water, if you will. Honestly, maybe Swagmaster Flex is putting in, hey, get these guys a drink of water. This is going to level them up. Maybe that's the difference that they've been missing. I will say, no one can take away this Hercules, the pull pushes, and the setup that's been provided. Obviously, I think that would have been huge. I don't know if he would have killed the Kama with that fire blink push across and forcing the Kama alt potential damage on Titan. However, like you mentioned, almost everything is up on both teams. Both paused. Yes, Ghoul is a controller player. This is best of 3. This is only game 1. No, only game 1. And we have another set directly after this I'll be rewatching as well. Yes, sir. I have no idea what's happening. I assumed... do you want me a message? Hold on. What's happening? Hold on. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? I don't see anything. Headset died? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you checking on that. It's called trolling. Damn. Oh my god, this wall shot me down. Hey, also, Lethal or anybody else, please remind me to reset Smite so I can actually put in team names, because this is grayed out after reset. In between games to make sure I can put team names under these guys. Alright, unpause. Back to the action. 37 minutes in this game. We are one team fight away from an end. Again, this is only game 1 of a best of 3 set. 2 applied onto this Hercules. Honestly, the 2 connecting just on the Hercules alone, a ton of damage. Assuming a 3k pot in hand. Erosion picked up by this Bacchus. Worth noting onto the Charon Hercules. Hercules now hovering. 2 connected once again. A big pull, push back. Got to be a little careful. Bacchus not able to connect. Knock-up immunity used on this dash. The damage that is coming forth from this Kama Wuhan. Tanks are really starting to feel it, where their skill shots are going to have to come in. Kama jumped in. Got to be a little careful. Thoth dashes down. Kama does have blink to try to close this gap. Bacchus, however, does not. Bird is spawning, so obviously a net win on the side of the Minotaurs if they're able to clear this fire wave and pretty much get out scot-free. Honestly, based off poke alone on this Charon, I would like to see, based off this wave pressure alone, getting this red buff onto either this Kamazach or Charon. Hercules hovering. Silence a little late. Obviously, if that silence connected first, that pull push would have been able to pull that Bacchus. Boulder used. Unfortunately, just not enough. Now the red buff is on top of this Kama, who is full damage. Obviously, breastplate, and rephrase that, breastplate and Thebes. 3, if not 4 damaged items, if you will. It's going to be a 99-minute game. I mean, maybe. It's going to be a long one. Kamazot's maybe not fully paying attention. Pull a little off the mark, unfortunately. Bacchus looking for that Thoth. You ruined Joust meta. He's the one who gave us the Bruiser Raijin and now Kama. Unfortunate. GG. Draft saves. The double back. See, what if that was done on a word? This Kama should be able to freely pull this. Charon has to be a little careful. He is here alone. Kama pulled bull. Maybe just a bait in. Not able to do anything. Chester secure based off Kama 1. Jump straight in, though. The fire blink onto this Kama. The stun just enough via the Bacchus burp. Charon ult was utilized. However, not really anything it's going to connect to here. Bacchus turned around to be to focus. He should be just jumping out. Silence utilized. Pull off the mark. They should just walk away for free. Kama able to get back off. Bacchus going to be able to back. Buffs are down. Sentry ward pressure on Bull and Choke Point. Obviously in favoring the Minotaurs. You gotta be a little careful. Like I said, the damage on this Kama Wuhan alone is kind of nutty. Kama able to connect a little damage. Thoth Dash was utilized. Pull a little off the mark. Both teams playing a little timid now that 3k pots are in hand. Decent damage onto the Charon. This is so close to just immediately being full set. Again, like we said, a 3k damage pot in Thoth's pocket. Not quite popped yet. Hercules picking up blue buff. Or killing it anyway. We're reaching conquest level times. I mean, it's kind of what happens when the drafts are this way. I think a lot of that would have been solved. I think the issue I would like notably mention, like I mentioned, having that double dive. He's got alternate timeline. If he goes blink, he's able to blink, fire blink onto the Soft, forcing that dash or fear of dash right away. And then able to just full all in with this cam onto the Soft, who doesn't have alternate timeline. None of that is being done. Hercules putting in a ton of value. Considering the alternate timelines in pocket, we're playing a little timid. I would like to see them poke down this team and then try to pull something to force Herc's push. There's both abilities. Connect the Kama slow over the 2. Here's the all-in on the Hercules. Here's what we talked about. Is it enough? Shell utilized. Bacchus has Pride Run proc. Shell utilized. on both. Should be the death of Herc. Charon has to be careful. That should be that fight we were talking about. They still have, like, when you look at this, they still have alternate timelines. They still have these relics. This should be a T1 bird, if not a win, depending on how this Charon Thoth play this set, or play the rest of this. A big flop in. Camel looking for the pathing. There's the blink. Thoth dash is down. However, not able to full send, mainly because the Camel doesn't have ult to really full send that. Thoth Aegis was up as well. There should be bird. And is. Thoth alts wave. Trying to get some of that clear. And it shouldn't be GG, actually. Electing to step off. Go for this bull. With Herc still down for 20. I'm assuming it's going to be a bull purple back. Looking for now an end. This will be a long game. Oh my god. That all in, yeah. Like I said, that was as soon as Herc abilities, like what the big call, because he doesn't have Wingblade, he's got Relic Dagger, right? As soon as Herc pushes down, I need to see that Kama 2 or a slow connect onto this Herc, and we can just immediately punish post tackle. However, that's a risk, notably a risk. But it's a risk you're going to have to take. I think he's got to be your target, knowing Charon has a CC immune ult. Herc does as well, but stationary, obviously. Flop in. Decent poke onto this Charon. Camo jumping in, knowing he's got ult. Big silence. Pull a little off the mark. Two's connecting on this Charon. Ult is elected to be used. Ult on the Kama. Charon. Wuhan ulting in. Alternate timeline used. Wuhan ult a little off the mark. Both relics now having to be utilized. But do they have enough damage to force this up? Keep in mind, alternate timeline is still on this Wuhan. Hercules has to be careful and conscious of that. But both relics were used. There's that blink push. Alternate timeline utilized. But you got to keep in mind, he does not have that survivability. Now because of that forced extension, able to be punished. Camo should be able to, you got to be careful. Camo is able to end this by himself. He doesn't need the Wuhan. Obviously, that double, almost double damage via this Wuhan Camo. That should pretty much spell GG. And is. All members down for at least 50 seconds. GG. Minotaurs securing game number 1. The all-in for the Wuhan with alternate timeline proving just to not be enough. Thank you. I will restart right now. A different DPS pickup on the side of the champions. Obviously able to do some of that range damage on the Thoth, but all poke and no way to actually finish some of those kills or get a good decent trade in exchange. I need to see a possibly different draft, what that actually looks like. I'm assuming they're going to go for that Hachi X-Ball ban onto Fabduel AK Syncfoot, looking for a handsome duel, looking for getting him off a comfort pick, maybe on an ADC, force him onto something else. You need to see a tank on her? I don't know. I guess we're right to see how they'd elect to play this. Let me put up the second prediction real quick for this game. Choose outcome. Give me uno momento on this. Oh my goodness, my thing is gone. There we go. Who will win? Game number 2 prediction is up. 2 minutes to vote. Who do you think is going to win game number 2? Best of 3 set. Feel free to vote on where you're actually going to go. Gambu, what is your song request, Big Dog? In future, I probably will not be doing song requests, actually, during casting, mainly because it's just a lot of work for me doing this all around. See if you can change the team names. Good call. I don't know if we can I? I can. That's actually big. Thank you. Click off that. Thank you, Star. Team number 1 should be my champions. I'm a little concerned. Here we go. Minotaurs. None of turn. That's crazy. Can't even spell. Oh my gosh. Spelling is so fucking hard. Fuck. Can't type. Alright, boom. Daddy Poncho, appreciate the follow. How do I build Soul? Like attack speed? There's plenty of people in chat that will be able to talk to you about what those builds should look like in the Joust. Feel free to help answer those guys. Appreciate that. Charon picked up on the side of champions, right? Immediately right away. They need a spectator? I thought they had one. Wait, how did no one spectate that? I literally yelled at the captains. Chicken, please... Someone please make sure that it's spectator unless they're waiting for this set to end and then they're playing. That's fine too. If they want me to watch it live, that's okay. But if they're actually playing the game and no one's spectating, that's not okay with that. Charon picked up, obviously electing for that same kind of pick or draft style right away. I'm hoping that they're going to see a different DPS on the side of champions, on the side of characterization, not necessarily the player itself. Hoi hovered, maybe an ADC pick for Fab Duel. I want to see what draft they elect. Obviously, already a hover of a little bit different draft. Not looking for that double dive on the Bacchus Kama. The shirt does need to remain on, Poopy. I mean, once we hit partner and Twitch and we do a hot tip stream, I guess you can see it off, but that's the only time. Which one's Minotaurs? So the Chaos side of Ven's Handsome Duel and Ghouls is the Minotaurs. Pitbull, Riot, and Taylor 1 are the sign of the champions. You're in bed? Alright, alright. We'll be back around that time? Jeez. Well, I do not have washboard ads. I went from an 8-pack to a dad bod. Obviously, ADC's a little adjustment. Obviously, P's and B's, notably, Kama elected to be banned on that dive. And your typical DPS. Now keep in mind, guys, this is that moment in time. Thoth is wide open. This is that double DPS where Thoth would actually find his value. So is that elected to be picked up when it wasn't banned out because you don't have that dive anymore on the side of Minotaurs? I wouldn't have mind Thoth picked up here versus the Thoth picked up into the Bacchus Camo and game number 1. I'm a little worried about how that actually looks. Thank you, Cosmos, for answering that question. I very greatly appreciate that. Darren P's and B's, thank you, Star, for double checking that. Appreciate that because I want to be able to watch that set directly after this. Please make sure results, Chicken, please make sure results for that set is posted in the results channel like normal as required in the BBC Joust League so I can immediately watch that via match IDs. But there's that Thoth hover. Just like I said, Thoth's going to find a ton of his value directly onto this traditional comp, aka this Morgan Le Fay Hoi, now that you don't have that double dive. So drafts staying much of the same on the side of this roster. I wonder who they're going to pick up for Pit. Or I guess, are they leaving it a solo tank Charon? Are they going to go for that double tank into this ADC? Obviously having early to mid pressure, but maybe losing that late game scaling against a Hoi. Depending on how they play the game, could turn out to go really well. You want to see a game 3, Sippy's yelling for us? Crazy. Bacchus hovered. Obviously, Bacchus doing a ton. Anti-heal, Pride and Pock off it all. That flop being phenomenal. Obviously, in my opinion, knockoffs being one of the best CCs in the game because you can beat mid-air and not get a ton from it. That's fine. I can get the screenshots once I watch it, but I need the match ID, Lethal. So get the match ID or Chicken and DM that to me if anything. I need in future, and this I gotta say this real quick. Captains, please make sure in future I need you guys to be getting screenshots in case I'm not able to be there, I'm not able to spectate, or I'm not able to do that right away. You guys need to be able to post those results and screenshots for me to be able to get those match IDs and watch them live on. So we can get these YouTube videos and everything else loaded up for you guys. So please do. Yeah, Star or Chicken, DM that to me, please, so I can put that in directly after this. Dog Cachet. A Rama pickup. Now, this is interesting. I'm not necessarily against this. Now, if we get a ton of Thoth poke, and then maybe Rama Snipe forcing the Aegis, or maybe Aegis is down, getting a big pickup late, I'm not necessarily against this pickup. What's the question marks for, Fabdul? Pitbull is on the Rama, aka DPS. Need need one of these teams to just skip all bans. I don't. That's really risky, honestly. Just playing or like passing all bans, some of the OP stuff that gets by, especially when money is on the line. You're playing for seeding to get into these cash tournaments, hopefully for the larger amount, being in the top 4 from your divisions, Group A or Group B. A lot of these players are going to be playing some of these meta picks, trying to get into those top 4, breaking into the tournaments. I don't know if you're ever going to see that, especially when money's on the line. People typically get very sweaty. You think rank's a big thing? Waiting to load into game. I'm going to move my camera preemptively. Again, a big shout out to Star telling me I can change team names under spectator or settings. And doing that in P's and B's is kind of huge. Swag would win without banning anything. That's possibly. Poor Swag. He's got to wake up from Kumba Mez to get into the league before he's able to even win it all. I love Swag to death. He's got to stay awake and drink water. Waiting to go into game. So I'm curious to see which roster notably do you think is actually going to find a ton. Honestly, based off of P's and B's alone, I'm favoring champions. Thoth, obviously, like I said, phenomenal into this double DPS, aka the Lefay Ho Yi. Some of that range poke, be able to outrange them. Charon, notably, that silence onto the Bacchus, burp, the knock-up immunity on the dash, and a big ultimate for the CC immunity. I think what the outplay potential is either getting a blink on this Ho Yi or Morgan Le Fay, trying to close on that gap, or maybe try to pull a cheeky little play. Possibly once Le Fay gets alternate getting blink. It's a risk and a half. However, that could be a game-changing call to do so. However, if you don't outranging that Thoth and not getting poked down to even get any kill potential, it's going to prove incredibly difficult. Unless we get a poke onto this Rama, because that dash is very disruptible. Be able to catch him can be a counterplay, if you will. Why is Spectate taking so long? I have no idea. Hope he goes timeline. I would like to see the timeline for sure. Yeah, Ramadash getting caught is going to prove incredibly difficult. His position is going to have to be impeccable. I think he's kind of, in my opinion, probably the win condition for the Minotaurs to get on top of this Rama, really punish that. But draft-wise, I really do favor Caesar's champions. Team names are used now, which is huge. Items, mages, mages, boom. I can't hover. That's crazy. Why you keep adjusting? I'm gonna wait until you're done adjusting. Smite doing Smite things. Go ahead, take your time. Are we done? Can I move him now? Holy cow! God, Smite's winning. All right. So adjustments made. Thoth has Sands. Charon has Sands as well. Obviously, it might turn into late game. 4 alternate timelines, assuming we get there. What is the standings? This is game number 2. Minotaurs up 1-0 in the set. See a Blackthorn hammer on Rama? Oh, now we're straight trolling, I see. Alright, I want to see the Thoth and Charon. Honestly, this is going to be a really hard game for Minotaurs, considering the absolute range poke that they're going to be able to have. Big flop in, Fearless forced. A ton of poke onto this Thoth. No poke returned at all. That should pretty much be red buff for the Minotaurs. Flop immediately utilized for the red. That is a shell, Ho Yi. Red secured. Torfell, appreciate the follow. Welcome to the BBC. Red secured on behalf of the champions. Incredible. I'm not sure what actually secured that there. So it should be 2 buffs for 2 buffs. Like I said, notably what was pointed out, a shell picked up for the Hou Yi versus a bead. So I wonder if we're able to get that silence or any kind of big CC post dash on this Hou Yi, comboed with any kind of damage, either Thotha or Rama ult onto this Hou Yi, should prove incredibly difficult. Rama feeling comfortable enough to dash in. Bacchus flop a little off the mark. Horn Shard popped. Maybe looking for another counter engage. Bacchus got to be a little careful. Getting it pretty poked out. It might have been Charon Tick. That's really crazy if it was. It's that range poke I talked about. I don't like, this is where Thoth finds his value is right here in this game. That range poke is going to prove incredibly hard to deal with for this Minotaur roster. I'm surprised they elected to go the double DPS right away. I would have liked them to see it go at ADC. If they were going to go this Hou Yi going ADC frontline, aka Guardian or Warrior, right? And they could flex the traditional pick once they see the Thoth, or go a double dive still. Being Thoth was left open. I would have liked to see that minor adjustment in P's and B's moving forward, maybe from this roster. However, electing to go that double DPS and Thoth being open, being a big pickup for the champions. Minotaurs is Chaos, so it's actually lined up right now. So you see champions on the order side, Minotaurs, aka Chaos, on this side. Minotaurs are up 1-0 in the set. Of course, again, shout out to Star for showing me how to do these names, so you can see this actually lined up for you to see and what teams there are. Flop a little off the mark. I would have loved to see that flop actually connect with this Rama. Rama getting a ton of poke onto this Hou Yi. Alts up on both rosters, all relics as well. Bounce a little off the mark. Flop in by the Bacchus. Now when's the go button for this roster? Rama feeling incredibly comfortable. Dashing out. Ton of poke onto this Hou Yi. Dash now forced. Keep in mind, here's like we talked about. Here's the Charon ult. Rama snipe based off that. The one just off the mark. If that actually connected, that would have killed. Oh no. Not having beads, that Charon ult, Rama's third snipe immediately held, hoping it was enough. The Charon, if it was able to connect that one, should have spelled the death for the Hou Yi. A little off the mark, securing that kill. Unfortunate. Just not enough. Really well played, really heads up play by the champions. Good adjustments. Thoth dash immediately forced, poked down. That should be red buff. Hou Yi lining up the triple bounce, didn't. Alting red buff. Should be the secure, and is. Thoth landed his ult, so it wasn't that Thoth didn't. Rama dash in, landing the cripple. Root onto the Bacchus. He should have flop up any moment now, but doesn't. Unfortunately, not able to leap away. First blood picked up and onto this Rama. Him getting that first blood gold should give him a little bit of that momentum, playing already hyper aggressive. Look at the graph. Creating some of that immediate power spike on the behalf of first blood and immediately stealing blue buff. Obviously, this will trend down a little bit once wave is cleared, but exceptional play on the side of champions. Really getting that cripple, locking down that Bacchus, and securing kill. Oh, it does more damage. I didn't think about the fact he didn't charge it as much. It does. You're not wrong. He could have held it longer, waiting for the Charon ult to come across, and then obviously confirming ult, knowing that the Charon CC, if it landed, is going to confirm that 100%. Not discrediting that at all. You're not wrong. Ton of range poke. Thoth electing to hit enemy DPS, obviously be it his job. Hou Yi one a little off the mark. Rama goes into snipes. Charon ulted. And immediately confirmed. Wow, what a great play. Like I mentioned earlier, that is what I wanted to see. Because of the no beads on the Hou Yi, if the Charon ult hits, it should confirm the DPS. Does he connect this? Misses 2 out of the 3. on the Lefay, not able to contact and kill the Thoth, going a 1-0 trade for the champions. This is kind of what you want to see. 2-0 on the side of this Rama. Really good ult from the Charon, confirming that third snipe onto the Hou Yi. And obviously Shell at the time, I think it was 8 seconds still down. Exceptional timing, really well played. So Charon won a little off the mark. Charon going Thieves instead of the Cloak this game. Obviously for the auras is going to provide to both of his DPS. Thoth finding a ton of that range poke. Like I said, this is that draft I wanted to see, where Thoth finds a ton of his value. I'm really wondering what Bacchus decides to go. Does he go that blink? Does he get, like, he's got to be able to close gap and get some set up. His flop is what's going to be the go button for his roster. However, how does that look for the opposing team? There's that flop and connects onto the Thoth. Unfortunately, no damage followed up instead. A Root immediately turned onto this Bacchus. Rama able to dash in for that cripple. Root connects. Bacchus ult utilized. No DPS. Hou Yi on the red buff. That is now 3 kills for this Rama, immediately punishing this solo frontline Bacchus. As soon as that flop comes across, you have a double root on the side of the Charon. Dash rooting him. Thoth dash rooting him. A cripple arrow to make sure he can't dash back out. Once that's all done, a ton of lockdown, and I honestly don't think it gets any better once this Rama starts to get build online. Thoth dash away. Got to be a little careful. Wuhan, or the Hou Yi immediately jumps in, pops Horn Shard, goes for that combo. Just not enough. Thoth beads were utilized. Charon all thought maybe just in case that Hou Yi was going to dive that. Here comes that ADC trade. He's got to be a little careful of that Hou Yi bounce. Hou Yi bounce not able to connect. The Faye pops Horn Shard. Purple and both Chesters confirmed on the side of the Minotaurs. Ozzy, and I'm assuming going straight into Axie for the Rama. A ton of sustain, going a little bit of that pen on the Axie. Trying to chunk through this Bacchus post-flop. It looks like he's changed his build from the Pride win, I'm assuming this, to go into Midgard. Hold on. Here's a pickup. I'm going to hover back over here. Apologize. There's a pickup on Bull right away by the champions. Is it enough burn? It is. Now you gotta be a little careful. Thoth doesn't have beads. He could be caught here. Hou Yi is going for that one. Immediately dash. Should be the stun into the ult. That should spell his death, and is. Gotta be really careful post-Bull. Are they able to confirm the second kill on the Rama? And aren't. That Thoth dashing. Whoops. I should have clicked right there. Thoth dashing toward tower versus dashing under toward blue spelled his disaster. Obviously, Hou Yi being able to dash on that. Gotta be a little careful. It was a sneaky Bull. Charon ulted. I would have liked to see the Charon ult more toward the peel for this Rama. Thoth dashes forward, trying to close gap. Rama able to stay in ult just enough to buy time for this Thoth to help get there. Bull about half time. Their team, Bacchus, Rama, should be able to back and still push, get value off this Bull. Just over half that time used on Bull. I want to see a good, healthy chunk on this tower. If not, getting tower itself, they should be able to pressure this up. Lefay does have ult. Thoth has ult as well. Bacchus has to be careful. 3/4 remaining. Decent chunk onto this Thoth. Bacchus stepping forward, looking for the flop. Rama autoing this Bacchus. Red buff is up. Bacchus flops in. Bull should be pretty much down and is. Now this turns into a red buff. Obviously no Bull value found due to the Thoth pick. Hou Yi is able to get back off. Blue is spawning. Just champions elect to clear wave and go for blue buff pressure. 40% CDR immediately for this Thoth, looking to get constant poke and range damage. 2 a little off. Rama immediately stepped in. Get a little poke here. Gotta be careful. Getting caught by that. Hou-Yi all expended. Thoth dashes down. Bacchus hovering, no blink. Midgard picked up instead of the Pride one for the Bacchus. Obviously trying to help mitigate the attack speed and movement speed. Slowing this Rama down. Allowing his DPS to get a little closer, possibly picking a little bit more damage. Closing some of that gap. Blue buff stolen. Yeah, 100%. Get in here, Rat. I get to use it. This is second game of set number 1. We still have a second set after this. Minotaurs are up 1-0.
Sorry, I had a lot of work to do.
No, you're good, dude. Don't stress. For those who don't know, this is Rat Squid.
Hi, everyone. Rat. What's your time on the clock?
11, 12, 12:01.
Okay, I'm like 4 seconds behind.
Okay.
I can just back up cast though, talk about builds and plays and stuff like that.
Okay. Alright, so shell utilized by Charon and Bacchus here. Bacchus flopping in. Charon uses CC immunity. Hou-Yi jump immediately used. Charon is poked out. So is this Bacchus. Both DPSs are healthy on both rosters. Bacchus does flop in. Silence a little off the mark.
Blue team has a good comp for disengage. Being able to just walk backwards and poke with Thoth is going to make it really hard to dive. Red team really doesn't have any kind of dive.
Hold on. Time out. Hou-Yi jumps in. Uses the shell. Oh, unfortunate. A little bit of an ego play there. Shell immediately forced. Honestly, a net win for the Rama. Relic used on Hou-Yi. Sorry, go ahead, Rat.
I like blue team comp better, to be honest.
Agreed.
I think they have better poke, better disengage, better peel, and at any point they can just pop Thothel and Rommel and pretty much just kill anyone on red side.
Yep.
Right? Like if they ever say, hey, like I'm gonna silence root somebody, just like charge up, that person's dead.
Yeah,
So.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those moments where, like I mentioned in the beginning, Thoth finds a ton of his value into a double DPS. They picked it originally into a double dive, aka Bacchus camo, which in my opinion kind of lost them the game based off drafts. Even though it turned into a 40-minute game, the Thoth pickup here, Hou-Yi and LaFay were elected to be grabbed in top 2 for the Minotaurs. So honestly, a Thoth pickup into that right away was phenomenal. I would have liked to see a minor adjustment from the Minotaurs, picking maybe their tank in an ADC and not kind of showing their full hand, allowing that Thoth to get most of their value right away. I think that's where a big adjustment needs to be on the Minotaur side and P's and B's. But obviously, level 12s, double relics on everyone besides this Bacchus. I want to see, honestly, what relic he decides to go here. I would like to see a blink kind of close from that gap. Maybe going for that blink flop. A ton of poke right away on this Hou-Yi. Alt used on him. However, he goes into alt. Immediately changes targets and goes at this LaFay. Thothal and Last Night for the Rama a little off the mark. Bacchus pops Horn Shard. Looking for a counter gauge. He's got to be careful. His DPS is stepping back. That might spell the end of T1. Bacchus ults all 3. Trying to buy his DPS time.
Red team holding all of their ults there. I think kind of lost on that fight. They just didn't press any buttons.
I mean, getting Aegis right away, that's a good adjustment by the Rama going for the LaFay, knowing Thoth was immediately trying to target her. But that last snipe and Thoth being a little off the mark, a little unfortunate. This is a really good step in. Big Fearless, though. That should spell the end of T1. Big pickup on the side of champions. You gotta be a little careful because all 3 members, now so poked out, could back. I want to see how the Minotaurs immediately respond. Do they go T1 themselves with Bacchus being healthy, or immediately like to go bull? Oh, he's hovering. Now, this is what I talked about. They are electing, are hovering to immediately go bull, and do. I appreciate the gifted. Damid. The subs, the gifted. Charon ulting. Trying to steal. Unfortunately, not enough. Only 2 of the ults out of 3 used. Hou-Yi jumping in, going into ult right away. Bacchus double flop. Rama forced into ult. A pickup onto the Charon. Thoth ult a little off the mark. Shell utilized. Rama dashed in. A double kill and Bull picked up on the side of the Minotaurs. A big swing. Unfortunately, the extension by the Charon Rama, and the wall shoots me down. GG, wall wins. The extension by the Charon and Rama immediately going into Bull Pit without the Thoth proved devastating for their roster.
I think they had a really good chance to steal with Rama, to be honest. Not really too sure why he stepped up that far. I mean, his ult is, you know, really good objective steal.
Oh.
So...
Now go ahead. Obviously the pick and double relics onto this Thoth. Really good by the Bacchus. And then the Fearless by the face, making sure they can close that gap and do... honestly, a big swing for Minotaurs. T1, Bird, double relics off Thoth, and a triple, aka a deicide, if you will. However, delayed is a big, big swing on the side of Minotaurs. Go ahead.
It might be easier. Do you want to throw a Discord stream up just that way I'm not like 6 seconds behind?
Will after
I don't want to like.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
don't want to like cut you off.
No. My audio is my audio is fucked up when I screen share on Discord. I still have to fix that. When I screen share, it like chops me in and out. So I'd rather not do that. But I will make sure we do that.
Okay.
If you want to, you watch it and you screen share and like play cameraman, we can do that too. We'll figure it out.
No, it's all good. I'm not too worried. Like I said, I can just play backup.
Right.
Yeah, I think blue team had a better chance to steal. They weren't grouped, so them stepping that far up into BDK pit, pretty bad, in my opinion.
Yep.
We talked earlier about their peel and their poke, but that all comes from Thoth.
Yep.
Right. So
for that, 100%.
Yep. So them getting chased down makes a lot of sense. That was a good jump in from Hou-Yi. That being said, I mean they didn't really have any ward vision, so if Thoth were to be a little bit closer, that could have gone really bad for them. But Thoth was back in base.
Yep.
So paid off pretty well.
I agree that if anything, if you are going to do that, Charon just steps in to give you health or a vision on it while the Rama goes into snipe and makes that big call out for the team while Thoth isn't there. The only time you're ever stepping in is as a 3-man. However, even that being the case, a Bacchus flop all into a Hou-Yi ult just would prove incredibly bad. That's not a choke point I really want to see this Champions draft. Big poke by the Thoth onto this Hou-Yi, making it feel uncomfortable to be able to step back. No Titan damage really secured here. So a possible fight back by the Champions. Blue buff is spawning, so proves a little farm there as well.
Yeah, that Thoth is 3 levels down on that Hou-Yi, taking 3/4 of his health, 3/4 of his health.
Yep. Thoth does a ton, especially on the double DPS, right? Notable the sentry wards, 3 sentry wards on the side of Minotaurs on this choke point. All members of the team really helping some of that vision. I want to see Minotaurs immediately positioning based off the sentry ward pressure, possible holding corner, or looking for this bull pickup as Bird's about to spawn.
Did you catch what the Bacchus' first item was? He sold it to pick up T2 Emerald Talisman. I'm guessing he's going Heartward now to kind of help with that poke. But I did not see what he had T1.
I don't remember. Chat, do you remember what his first item was? Off the top of my head.
I don't know if I'm a big fan of the Midgardian mail. I don't have the Joust players kind of picked up on Breastplate of Valor?
Breastplate of Valor is phenomenal. Yes, they have picked up on that. Midgard just feels terrible to fight into. It was an earring? Okay, so he went tier 1 earring for the mana sustain. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's not bad at all then.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Breastplate of Valor is just by and far one of, if not the best item in SMITE right now.
Yep.
It is so unbelievably broken. Like, 100, I think it gives 111 Fizz procs, 20% movement speed, and what, 48 magical protections when it procs?
Yep.
Absolutely insane for an item. Which, I don't know, I will, like, die on that hill right now. I am building a second item on pretty much everyone I'm playing.
Because it's just so good, and you think
it is just that good. Like,
Bacchus
is insane.
Blinking right away. The DPS really chunking him, but obviously Minotaurs, damn it, DPS immediately chunking in turn. Shall utilize Charon ult as well.
I think that's really smart for the Bacchus to do. They know they have a lead, and they saw earlier that Thoth is poking out. If he just prevents that poke, their backline will win just due to their level advantage. So just, you know, making sure that their team doesn't die to their backline is play here for sure.
Oh my gosh. Thoth ult just a little off the mark. Hou-Yi able to pick up the kill onto this Charon. Rama snipes. All three were connected onto this Hou-Yi. A ton of poke. The disengage by Minotaurs should spell the end of this game for the most part. Honestly, they back and are able to push with fire wave pressure onto a under half health Titan. It is on the champions to make a comeback play, if not get picks before that fight even happens. There's no spoilers. This is live. That's not a spoiler. Are you talking about Riot? Oh, I got you. I rephrased that. Yeah, don't come in and chat and just spoil it. And don't be doing that. Don't be doing the spoilers. You gotta be a little careful now. They're stepping up. Like I mentioned, it's on the champions to really make a play here because the Titan is under half health. They just make this all-in call. The Hou-Yi just gets all down, and LeFay is able to get a full cast with Bacchus pulling the Titan. Should spell the end. It is on the champions to try to get these big picks onto this other DPS because LeFay and Hou-Yi ults are relics are down. There's the ults. Immediately walk past, and that spells the game. GG. Oh, a 2-0 from the Minotaurs. Congratulations to that roster. Obviously, a big start for the champions. Honestly, big plays from both teams. Really exceptional set altogether, but GG's.
I think that game was going very even throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Forcing the backs when they win, when they pulled BDK.